Hey everyone, welcome back. So today we're talking about teachers, but not lesson plans or grading. We're talking about the moments when they had to make a choice. Follow the rules and watch a student suffer, or break every policy in the book and actually help. These are stories from teachers who saw something wrong, abuse, neglect, poverty, crisis, and decided the rules didn't matter. Stories about educators who put students first, consequences second. Some of these will restore your faith in humanity. Some will make you angry at the systems that made these choices necessary. Hit like if you respect teachers, subscribe for more story compilations, and share your own experiences in the comments. Let's hear what they did.
I taught third grade in a low-income district. Most of my students came from struggling families. I knew this. We all knew this. December rolls around. Class is talking about Christmas, what they want, what they're excited for. One of my students, let's call her Maya, is quiet, doesn't participate. I notice. After class, I ask her about it. She says her family doesn't really do Christmas. No judgment, different families, different traditions. But something felt off. I started paying attention. Maya wore the same 3 outfits, rotated all week, came to school without lunch multiple times, said she forgot it. I reached out to her mom. No response. Called multiple times. Nothing. 2 weeks before Christmas break, Maya comes to school crying. I pull her aside. She breaks down. Says there's no Christmas. Says her mom lost her job. They might lose their apartment. There's no food at home sometimes. She's 8 years old, telling me she's hungry. School policy says I can't give students money or gifts, creates favoritism, opens liability issues. I could get fired. I went home that night, told my husband. We decided we didn't care. Bought Maya winter clothes, 5 outfits, coat, boots, got her a backpack full of school supplies, added gift cards for groceries, $200 worth. Wrapped everything like it was from Santa, brought it to school, gave it to her privately. She cried. I cried. Told her Santa wanted to make sure she had what she needed. Her mom called me later, sobbing, said I saved their Christmas, said Maya hadn't stopped smiling in days. My principal found out, called me in. I thought I was fired. She said, "Next time, let me know. I'll help you buy more." 4 other teachers had done the same thing that year for different students, all quietly, all against policy. Nobody got fired because sometimes rules are less important than 8-year-olds having food and warm clothes.
School policy said no gifts. Liability issues, favoritism concerns, all valid from an administrative standpoint. But an 8-year-old is crying about being hungry, and you're supposed to file paperwork instead of feeding her? This is what these stories expose: the gap between policy and humanity, between what you're supposed to do and what you need to do. The principal saying, "Let me help you buy more," that's leadership. That's understanding that rules exist to help people, not stop people from helping. 4 other teachers did the same thing, quietly, risking their jobs because children needed food. That's the system, and that's why teachers break it. Next story.
I taught high school English in a rural area. Small school. Everyone knew everyone. Had a student, junior, 16 years old, who always looked disheveled. Greasy hair, dirty clothes, strong smell. Other kids made fun of him, called him names. He sat alone at lunch. Most teachers assumed he was lazy, didn't care about hygiene. Typical teenager stuff. I noticed he was always at school early, stayed late, never wanted to leave. One day after school, I asked him about it. Told him I noticed he was always here. Asked if everything was okay at home. He shut down. Said he was fine. Defensive. I didn't push, but I paid attention. Few weeks later, it's winter. Cold. He comes to school in the same thin jacket he's worn since September. No gloves, no hat. I pull him aside again. This time I'm direct. What's going on at home? He breaks. Tells me he's homeless. Has been for 6 months. His mom kicked him out when he turned 16. Said he was old enough to figure it out. He's been sleeping in his car. No running water, no heat. Showers at truck stops when he can afford it. I made a decision. Gave him keys to my classroom. Told him he could use the private bathroom in the faculty wing to shower. Brought him soap, shampoo, towels, deodorant. Let him store clean clothes in my filing cabinet. Gave him access before and after school. Did this for 8 months until he graduated. Never told administration, never filed a report. Graduated top of the class. Got a full scholarship to State University. Sent me a thank you note years later. Said I saved his life. Said he thought about giving up every day until I helped him. I broke rules. Could have been fired. Would have been fired if anyone found out. But he needed a shower and a safe place more than I needed to follow protocol. Sometimes that's the choice.
16. Homeless, sleeping in a car and coming to school every day because it was warm and there was food. Other teachers thought he was lazy. Dirty teenager. No one asked why. Mandated reporting exists for good reasons. CPS is supposed to help. But this teacher knew the system would fail this kid. 16-year-old homeless kid. CPS can't force parents to take them back, can't place them easily. Often they end up in worse situations. So he gave him keys to the classroom, access to a shower, storage for clothes, basic human dignity. For 8 months, every day, risking his career so a student could be clean and have hope. That student graduated top of his class, full scholarship, now successful. Because one teacher decided hygiene and safety mattered more than mandated reporting protocols. Moving on.
I taught middle school science, 7th grade. Had a student, 13-year-old girl who was always covered up. Long sleeves in summer, turtlenecks, pants. Never participated in PE. Always had excuses. One day, it's 90 degrees. She's wearing a long-sleeve shirt and jeans. I pulled her aside after class, ask if she's okay. She says she's fine. Cold-blooded. Runs cold. Standard excuses. I notice bruising on her wrist. Ask about it. She pulls her sleeve down quickly, says she fell. Red flag. I start watching, paying attention. She flinches when people move quickly near her, jumps at loud noises. Classic trauma responses. I report it to the school counselor. Standard protocol. Counselor talks to her. Girl denies everything. Says home is fine. CPS does a home visit. Parents are clean-cut, professional, house is nice. No evidence of abuse. Case closed. But I know something's wrong. I can feel it. I start building a file. Document every time she comes to school with new bruises. Take dated photos with her permission. She trusts me by this point. Patterns emerge. Bruises show up on Monday, after weekends, after school breaks. I'm breaking policy. I'm supposed to report once and let CPS handle it. I'm not supposed to investigate. That's not my job. But CPS already dismissed it, And this girl is being hurt. 3 months of documentation. Photos, dates, patterns. Witnesses who heard her father screaming at school pickup. I take it back to CPS. Hand them a folder thick with evidence. This time, they investigate properly. Find out the father has a history, arrests in another state, nothing that showed up in first check because of name variation. Girl gets removed from home, lives with her aunt. Safe. Father gets arrested. Mother loses custody. I could have been fired for what I did, conducting my own investigation, taking photos of a student, circumventing official channels. But CPS failed her the first time. Someone had to try again. She's 18 now, in college. She still emails me sometimes. Says I saved her life. I broke a lot of rules. But she's alive. That's what matters.
CPS investigated, found nothing, closed the case, and the abuse continued. So, this teacher became a detective. 3 months of documentation, photos, patterns, witnesses. This is the Reddit drama that doesn't go viral. The boring work, the careful documentation, the risk. She could have been fired. Parents could have sued for photographing their child. School could have terminated her for overstepping. But she knew. She saw the signs. And when the system failed, she built a case herself. Father arrested, girl safe, living with family that doesn't hurt her. 18 now, and in college, because one teacher refused to accept case closed. Sometimes, breaking rules means saving lives. Literally. Next one.
I taught high school math in an inner-city school. Almost all my students qualified for free lunch. But free lunch only covers lunch, not breakfast, not weekends, not school breaks. I had several students who I knew didn't have reliable food at home. You can tell. They're tired, can't focus, asking classmates for leftover food. School policy: teachers can't give food to students outside of what's provided by the cafeteria. Liability, allergies, all make sense legally. But kids are hungry, and I'm supposed to teach them math while their stomachs are empty? I started bringing extra snacks. Granola bars, crackers, juice boxes, left them in my desk drawer. Told students if they needed something, take it. No questions asked, no judgment. Word spread. More students started coming by, before school, after school, during lunch. I was spending $50 to $100 a week on snacks. My wife noticed, asked what I was doing. Told her. She started helping. Bought bulk items at Costco. We turned our spare bedroom into a storage room. Other teachers found out. Started contributing. 5 of us pooling resources, hundreds of dollars a month. Administration found out. Called a meeting. I thought we were done. Principal said we're violating policy. Can't distribute food without proper procedures. Liability issues if a student has an allergic reaction. We said we understood. Asked what the proper procedure was to feed hungry students. She didn't have an answer. Because there isn't one. The system doesn't account for kids who need more than 1 meal a day. We told her we'd accept whatever consequences came. But we weren't stopping. She left the meeting, came back an hour later, said she got approval from the district to start a student nutrition assistance program. Officially sanctioned. Liability covered. Gave us a budget. $500 a month from discretionary funds. We've been running it for 3 years now. Feed about 40 students regularly. Some of them come by every day. We broke the rules first. Forced the system to catch up. Now it's official. And kids aren't hungry anymore. Sometimes you have to break rules to make better rules.
School policy said no giving food, liability, allergies, proper procedures. But kids were hungry, and there was no proper procedure. The system didn't have one. So 5 teachers spent hundreds of dollars a month from their own pockets, turned a spare bedroom into a food pantry. And when administration found out, they didn't fire anyone. They created a program. Because the principal realized the teachers were right. The rules were wrong. Kids needed food more than the school needed liability protection. This is rare. Usually breaking rules ends in termination. This time, it ended in system change. 40 students now fed regularly for 3 years because 5 teachers decided hunger was more important than policy. Next story.
I taught junior English at a public high school. Mix of income levels. Some wealthy families, some very poor. Prom season comes around. Girls are excited, talking about dresses, making plans. One of my students, we'll call her Jasmine, isn't participating in the conversations, sitting quietly while everyone else plans. After class, I ask her if she's going to prom. She says probably not. Says it's expensive. Ticket, dress, photos, dinner. Her family can't afford it. She's trying to act like she doesn't care, but I can see she does. She's 17. She wants to go to prom. School has a program for prom tickets. We can waive the fee for students in need, but it doesn't cover the rest. Dress, shoes, hair, makeup. Policy says I can't pay for student activities. Creates precedent. Other students might expect same treatment. I don't care about precedent. This girl deserves to go to prom. I take her shopping. Tell her it's from an anonymous donor. Buy her a dress. Nice one, not cheap. Shoes, jewelry, pay for hair and makeup appointments. Total cost about $400. I tell her it's covered. She cries in the dressing room. Prom night, she sends me a photo. She looks beautiful, happy, like every 17-year-old should look at prom. She graduates 2 months later, gives a speech thanking her teachers, mentions an anonymous donor who made prom possible. Principal asks me about it after. I tell her the truth. I paid for it, out of pocket, against policy. She sighs, says, "Don't make it a habit," smiles, walks away. Jasmine's in college now, first in her family. She still thanks me for that dress. I broke the rules. Cost me $400. Worth every penny. Sometimes memories are more important than policies.
$400 for a dress, shoes, hair, makeup, so a 17-year-old could go to prom. Policy said no. Creates precedent. Other students might expect help. Valid administrative concern. But this teacher looked at a girl who wanted to go to prom and couldn't afford it, and decided policy was less important than that memory. And the principal? Don't make it a habit. Which is administrator code for, I'm not supposed to approve this, but I do. First in her family to go to college. Still thanks her teacher for that dress. Because prom might seem trivial to adults, but to a 17-year-old who's never had anything nice, it's everything. Moving on.
I taught high school history, senior year. Had a student who was in foster care. Good kid, quiet, hard worker, never caused problems. He turned 18 in November. Foster care ended. By policy, he had to leave his placement. No family to go to, no money saved. Still had 6 months until graduation. I found out he was sleeping in his car, parking in the school lot overnight, showering in the gym before classes started. Asked him about it. He admitted it. Said he was figuring it out, didn't want charity. I went home, told my wife. We have a house, 3 bedrooms. Kids are grown and moved out. She said what I was thinking. He can stay with us. School policy. Teachers cannot house students. Massive liability, boundary issues, opens door to inappropriate relationships, could lose license. I called my principal, explained the situation, asked what the protocol was for students aging out of foster care who become homeless. She said we refer them to social services. They can help with transitional housing. Might take weeks, maybe months. He'd be sleeping in his car for months through winter while trying to graduate. I told her I was going to let him stay with us, temporarily, until he graduated. Then he could figure out next steps. She said if I did that, I'd likely be terminated. Clear policy violation. I said I understood. Did it anyway. That kid is 25 now. Has a good job, his own place. We still talk sometimes. He calls us his family. I broke rules, big ones. Could have lost everything. But he needed a home, and I had one. The choice was obvious.
18. Aged out of foster care. 6 months from graduation. Sleeping in his car. Social services could help in weeks, maybe months. Meanwhile, winter. In a car. So this teacher let him move in. Against massive policy, against licensing board rules, against every boundary guideline. And the principal knew, had to have known, chose not to report it. Because sometimes the right thing and the legal thing aren't the same thing. That kid lived with him for 7 months, graduated with a 3.8, now 25, successful, calls them family. Because one teacher decided housing a student was more important than keeping his license. That's the calculation. Your career versus a kid's life. And some teachers choose the kid. Next one.
I taught 5th grade. Standardized testing year. High stakes, school funding tied to scores. Administration was obsessed. Practice tests every week, drilling test strategies, teaching to the test. I had several students with learning disabilities, IEPs, accommodations. They were smart kids, just learned differently. Test format didn't account for that. They were going to fail, not because they didn't know the material, because the test wasn't designed for how they learned. Testing day comes, I'm proctoring, reading instructions, watching students struggle. One of my students, kid with dyslexia, starts crying, can't process the questions fast enough, knows the answers but can't get them on paper in time. Policy: no assistance during testing, no modifications beyond approved accommodations. Any deviation invalidates scores. I'm watching this kid cry, knowing he understands the math, knowing he's failing because he can't read fast enough. I made a decision, broke protocol, started reading questions aloud, quietly, just to students who needed it, gave them extra time when the timer went off. Helped 5 students that way. Blatant cheating by testing standards. They all passed, got decent scores, better than they would have without help. Testing administrator reviewed footage. Cameras caught everything. Got called to superintendent's office, shown the footage, asked to explain. I'd told the truth, said the test was unfair, said my students knew the material, said I wasn't going to let a poorly designed test define their education. Terminated. Lost my license. Can't teach in that state anymore. Worth it. Every one of those kids passed to 6th grade. Otherwise, they'd have been held back, labeled failures, for a test that wasn't measuring their knowledge. I'd do it again. Sometimes breaking rules means losing everything, but some students are worth it.
She helped students during standardized testing, read questions aloud, gave extra time, blatant cheating, and got fired. Lost your teaching license. This is the dark side of these stories. Sometimes breaking rules destroys your career. But she watched a kid with dyslexia cry because he knew the math but couldn't read fast enough, and she decided that was wrong. 5 students passed who would have failed, moved to 6th grade, weren't labeled failures. But she can't teach in that state anymore. Career over, because she helped kids. This is the system. High-stakes testing, tied to funding. Teachers forced to watch students fail, not because they're not smart, but because the test doesn't accommodate different learning. She said she'd do it again. Some students are worth losing everything for. Next story.
I taught high school PE, also coached football. Big guy, 6'3", 240 pounds. Had a student, freshman, who was getting bullied. Small kid, nerdy, easy target. Group of seniors kept messing with him, stealing his stuff, pushing him around, verbal harassment. I reported it multiple times. Administration talked to the bullies, gave warnings. Nothing changed. One day after school, I'm in the gym, hear commotion outside. Look out. Those same seniors have the freshman cornered. 3-on-1. They're pushing him, about to jump him. Policy. Teachers break up fights verbally. Call security. Do not physically intervene unless someone is in immediate danger. Liability issues. These kids were about to put this freshman in the hospital. I ran outside, got between them and the kid, told them to back off. They didn't. One of them swung at me. I blocked it, pushed him back, hard. His friends jumped in. Now I'm fighting 3 high school seniors, trying to protect the freshman behind me. Security arrives, breaks it up. Everyone gets hauled to the office. I'm the one who gets in trouble. Used physical force on students. Pushed a kid. Technically, assault. Parents of the seniors want me fired, arrested, sued. Principal suspends me pending investigation. I might lose my job. That freshman and his parents come forward, make statements. Say I protected him from serious injury. Say those seniors were attacking him. Security footage backs it up. Shows them cornering him. Shows them swinging first. Charges get dropped. I keep my job. Barely. Those 3 seniors get expelled, finally, after months of bullying. That freshman still stops by my classroom sometimes just to say thanks. I broke policy, used physical force on students, could have been arrested. But that kid was about to get hurt, and I'm not standing by watching that. Some rules aren't worth following.
3 seniors cornering a freshman, about to jump him, and this teacher ran between them. Policy said, break it up verbally, call security. Don't physically intervene. But don't physically intervene means let the kid get beat up while you wait for security. So he didn't wait. Pushed kids back, got hit, fought 3 teenagers to protect 1, and almost got arrested for it. Almost lost his job for protecting a student from assault. The senior's parents wanted him arrested for stopping their kids from beating someone up. But the freshman's testimony and security footage saved him. Seniors got expelled, finally. That teacher could have been fired, arrested, sued for doing what everyone knows was right. But policy doesn't always align with right. Sometimes you have to choose. Next one.
I taught high school English at a school where most kids didn't go to college. First-generation students, low-income families. College wasn't expected. Had a student, brilliant girl, best writer I'd seen in 15 years of teaching, should have been at an Ivy League school. But her family couldn't afford application fees, let alone tuition. Senior year, I encourage her to apply for scholarships. She does, fills out dozens of applications, gets rejected from most. Few offers small amounts. Not enough. She's about to give up, settle for community college and working full-time. Nothing wrong with that path, but she deserved more opportunities. I find a scholarship, full ride, 4 years, room, board, tuition, covers everything. But the application requires a $75 fee. She doesn't have it. Policy: teachers cannot pay application fees for students. Creates unequal opportunities, favoritism. I don't tell her I'm paying it. Just submit her application with my credit card, use her information. Technically, identity fraud. She gets the scholarship, full ride to a state university. She's confused how the application got submitted. I tell her there was a fee waiver program. I lied. 4 years later, she graduates, top of her class, gets into graduate school, more scholarships. She's a published author now, teaches creative writing, doing exactly what she was meant to do. She still doesn't know I paid that fee. I committed fraud, used her information without permission, violated policy. If anyone found out, I could lose my job, could face legal consequences. But $75 stood between her and a full scholarship, between community college and a 4-year degree, between surviving and thriving. I'd commit that fraud again, every time. Some rules are less important than potential.
$75. That's what stood between that girl and a full-ride scholarship. But she didn't have it. And policy said the teacher couldn't pay it. Creates favoritism, unequal opportunities. So which creates more inequality? Letting talented students fail because of $75 or helping one student reach their potential? This teacher chose fraud, used the student's information, paid the fee, submitted the application. That girl is now a published author, teaching creative writing, changed her entire life trajectory. Because one teacher decided $75 and a policy violation were worth less than a student's future. She still doesn't know. Still thinks there was a fee waiver program. The teacher never told her. That's the quiet version of breaking rules. No dramatic confrontation, just a credit card payment and a lie. And a full scholarship, and a graduate degree, and a career. 2 more stories.
I taught middle school social studies for 20 years. Small town. Same families, same kids' parents I'd taught years before. Had a student, 8th grade, whose mother was sick. Cancer. Terminal. Everyone knew. Kid was struggling. Grades dropping. Acting out. Understandable. His mom was dying. She passed away in March, middle of the school year. Kid was devastated. Father had left years ago. No contact. Rest of family was distant, out of state. Funeral was planned for that Saturday. I asked the kid if he was okay, if he had support. He said it would just be him and his grandmother. That's it. 2 people at his mother's funeral. That didn't sit right with me. I sent an email to my class, then to the whole school. Told them about the funeral. Said anyone who wanted to attend was welcome. School policy. Teachers can't organize student activities outside school without approval. Can't use school email for personal matters. Liability if something happens. I didn't ask permission. Just sent the email. Saturday comes. I show up at the funeral home, expecting maybe a few people. 75 people show up. Teachers, students, parents, staff members, cafeteria workers, janitors. That kid walks in, sees a room full of people for his mom, all because they cared about him. He breaks down. So do I. So does everyone there. We filled that funeral home, gave his mother a proper goodbye, showed that kid he's not alone. Monday morning, principal calls me in. Says I used school email inappropriately, organized unauthorized event, created liability. Asks what I have to say for myself. I said I'd do it again. That kid needed people at his mother's funeral, and we showed up. Principal looks at me, says, "Good. Don't make a habit of violating policy, but good." That student graduated high school last year, doing well. Still stops by sometimes. Says that funeral changed everything. Says knowing people cared kept him going. I broke rules, used school resources inappropriately. Worth every consequence. Some moments are bigger than policy.
75 people. At a funeral that was going to be 2 people. Teachers, students, parents, cafeteria workers, janitors. All because one teacher sent an email. Against policy, unauthorized event, liability issues. All technically violations. But an 8th grader was about to bury his mother with only his grandmother there. And this teacher said no. That's not happening. The principal's response? Don't make a habit of it, but good. That's an administrator who understands. That student said the funeral changed everything. Knowing people cared kept him going. 75 people showed up because they were asked, because a teacher broke rules to give a grieving kid what he needed. Community, support, proof he wasn't alone. Last story.
I taught high school chemistry, AP level, college credit course. Had a student, senior, who was brilliant. One of the best I'd taught. Should have gotten an A easily. But senior year, her father had a stroke. Severe. She became his primary caregiver. Her mom had passed away years before. She missed classes, couldn't complete assignments on time, struggled to focus when she was there. She failed several tests, not because she didn't understand, because she was exhausted, taking care of her father, managing his medications, making sure he ate. She was 17, doing the work of a full-time nurse while trying to graduate. Her final grade was a C-, technically passing, but her GPA dropped. Scholarship offers got pulled, college acceptance rescinded. I watched this brilliant kid lose her future because life destroyed her senior year. She came to me crying, said she understood, said it was her fault for not keeping up. It wasn't her fault. Her father had a stroke. She chose to care for him instead of abandon him. Grades were submitted. Semester over. Can't change grades after submission without administrative approval and documentation of error. I changed it anyway. Went into the system, changed her C- to an A-. Forged documentation saying there was a grading error. Submitted correction. Nobody questioned it. Small change. Happens sometimes. Her GPA went back up. Not to where it was, but enough. Scholarship was reinstated. College acceptance restored. She graduated. Went to college. Her father recovered enough to live independently. She's a doctor now. Pediatrician. She knows what I did. Figured it out when she saw her transcript. Sent me a thank you note. Said I'd saved her future. I committed academic fraud. Changed a grade without authorization. If discovered, I'd be fired, possibly prosecuted. But she sacrificed her senior year to care for her dying father. And the system punished her for being a good daughter. I've fixed that. Rules be damned. She earned that A.
just not in the way the system recognizes. Some grades measure character, not chemistry.
She failed tests because she was taking care of her father. 17 years old, managing medications, being a nurse. And the system said, "That's not our problem. Your grades are your grades." Scholarship pulled, college acceptance rescinded. So this teacher committed fraud, changed a submitted grade, forged documentation. That student is a pediatrician now, because one teacher decided caregiving was worth more than test scores. This is the most illegal thing in these stories. Grade fraud. Could be prosecuted, not just fired. But the teacher looked at a girl who chose her father over her GPA and decided the system was wrong. The student knows, figured it out, sent a thank you note. Some grades measure what you know. Some measure who you are. This teacher decided character mattered more than chemistry. Rules be damned. So those were 11 stories from teachers who broke every rule, bought Christmas gifts, let homeless students shower, investigated abuse, became food suppliers, paid for prom dresses, housed foster kids, cheated on standardized tests, fought bullies, committed scholarship fraud, filled funeral homes, changed grades. Every single one of these teachers risked their careers. Some lost them for students who needed help more than the system could provide. These are the stories that don't go viral, the quiet decisions, the expensive choices, the career-ending sacrifices. Because here's the truth about teaching. The rules are designed to protect institutions, not students. Don't give gifts, liability. Don't house students, boundaries. Don't investigate, not your job. Don't feed them, allergies. Don't pay fees, favoritism. Don't touch them, lawsuits. Don't change grades, fraud. Meanwhile, kids are hungry, homeless, abused, poor, grieving, and teachers are told to file paperwork instead of helping. So some of them break the rules, risk everything, because a child's immediate need is more important than policy compliance. These stories show what happens when humanity meets bureaucracy, when the right thing conflicts with the legal thing. Most teachers who break rules don't tell anyone. They help quietly, risk termination privately, and never expect recognition. If you're a teacher or you know one, these stories are for you. We see you, breaking rules, spending your money, sacrificing your time, risking your careers. If these stories resonated, hit like, subscribe for more story compilations. And if you're a teacher with your own rule-breaking story, share it in the comments. This community wants to hear it. And if you were a student who had a teacher break rules for you, maybe reach out. Let them know it mattered, because most teachers who do this never find out if it made a difference. Thanks for watching. Respect teachers. Question rules. Help kids. See you next time.